Sorry, man. Well, Valentina, congratulations. Probably one of your most dominant performances to date. How do you feel after a fight like that?
I feel good, feel amazing. It's only because of performance, but last couple months it was a lot of work, a lot of hard trainings, like mental pressure, physical pressure, everything. And when you end the fight and with the result what you expected, it's the best feeling that you ever can feel.
Yeah. I know you go in expecting to win. I mean, where did you feel your biggest opportunities would be? I think you dominated pretty much all aspects, but did you think striking, grappling, where did you think you'd have the advantages?
It's first of all, from the beginning of the fight, I wanted to feel her power because I heard a lot what she was saying about the distant range, and I never fought someone like she, and like I wanted to feel, is it truth or maybe it's just words? And that's why it was kind of like, after I felt, and after the last elbow in the first round, when I cutted her, I knew that the fight is not gonna last all 5 rounds, and I just trying to find the best way to finish.
I know, after the last fight, you said, "Listen, there's no pressure to do things differently. I just have to win and keep my belt." But I mean, is there a satisfaction you take out of having another highlight finish, not something that wasn't quite what fans wanted?
Of course, it's anytime I think you never can order how you will finish the fight, right? You can only prepare yourself to the biggest moment. And like I said before the fight, I prepared for all 5 rounds, a bigger distance, a lot of challenge that Caitlin gonna bring. And she tried to do everything. She tried to do it, but fighting with different opponents other than me, it's different because I don't know why she thought that she's gonna be better on the distance. I don't know why, because for example, my coach Pavel, he every time during our trainings, we work a lot on the stand-up, the distance, the feeling. He teach me how to be in the right moment, in the right place. And it was only matter. So during the fight, there is no thoughts. I never think about what I'm gonna do, how I have to do. I just let my body act to work, because I already teach it. I teach it for all these years, everything. It knows everything. And now it's time just to do the action, and looks like the body it's know how to finish or what to do better.
Yeah. And last thing for me, I know you said the great thing about being champion is you don't have to chase fights, they come to you, but what do you think makes sense? I mean, I don't know if there's a clear number one contender, maybe Modafferi, maybe Calderwood. What do you think would make sense for your next title defense?
We just watched the ranking of flyweight with Laura Sanko, and it was after Caitlin and Jessica I, it is Jojo Calderwood, it's Jennifer Maya, and Roxanne Modafferi. So these 3 girls, I think they are strong fighters, very good skills, and each one, they have different style of fighting, and I would love to fight anyone from them.
Even Maya, I mean, she's missed weight a couple times. Would that bother you?
I think if it's going to be a matter of the title fight, she's going to take it more seriously, probably.
Valentina, right here. I spoke with your manager, Roger, earlier today, and he said he thought tonight would be the best expression of your ability in the cage. Do you feel like that, this performance was that?
I just small correction. I'm a self-manager since 1 year ago. We are good friends with Roger. He's helping like a friend a lot. And but already 1 year I'm a self-manager. And can you repeat the question, please?
He just said he thought tonight, you were feeling so good coming into this fight, it would be kind of the best expression of your skills. And obviously you were so dominant, it was really impressive. Do you feel like you showed, the best of yourself tonight?
Every single fight, I try to show the best of me. And of course, as I said, you cannot order the KO, TKO submission, but you just can to prepare as good as you can. For me, I don't like to say these kind of things about myself. Oh, it was my best performance, so I'm the greatest. So I don't like it. I just think that it's not right, it's incorrect, because if people say it, if fans say it, it's okay. But you as a fighter, you have to focus on your trainings and concentrate yourself, concentrate on works, not word.
We just talked about potential opponents, but do you know how soon you would like to fight again? It doesn't seem like you took much damage, and I know you like to be really, really active, so do you have any idea how quickly you'd like to compete again?
Doesn't matter. I don't know. Tomorrow, probably. I don't know. Yes, I would love to fight soon.
Valentino right here. How cool was it to have that belt on your shoulder and go, get congratulations from Halle Berry? I know that's a friend of yours now.
It was a very special moment for me. Halle, she's amazing person, and I'm very happy that tonight, she was here in the event. She came before the fight to wish me good luck, and it was like a very special feeling because for a couple of months we were training together. Then we did the movie that probably by the end of this year we could see, hopefully. And of course, it's every time. It's for me, it's very special moments, and this is what make you think. Yeah, you cannot just go inside the octagon and just do regular fight. No, you have to give yourself the best of you.
How big a deal for you is to get the Valentina brand mainstream so people know you everywhere?
I don't know. I just do what I love to do. I love to do martial arts because martial arts for me, it's not just my job. It's not. UFC, it's not just my job. It's my life. Martial arts, it's my philosophy, my lifestyle, everything. And I'm very happy to have this kind of life, not different one. Exactly this one. And I just love what I'm doing, and doesn't matter what I do. I try to give all my heart and to bring everything from me.
Is that why you have that mentality? Because it seems like anybody can get it at 125, and that's like your mentality. You don't care who's next. It's like you line them up, you knock them down. Is that your mentality?
It's true. This is my mentality, and it's like if opportunity comes to you, you have to be ready to take it. If you are thinking, okay, probably it's gonna come another time. I'm not speaking right now about the fights. I'm saying it in general, right? Or what people are thinking. Okay, probably I don't take it this time, and tomorrow I will do it. It's not. You have to be ready to take it right now. And this is what I every time think that doesn't matter what position you are right now, champion or whatever. You have to work hard. You have to work more than other one, and especially when you have a belt. It's not time to relax. People, other ones, they are thinking, okay, I will get the belt and I can relax. No, it's time to work harder than before.
And do you need that trilogy with Amanda to try to complete your career? Do you want that fight before your career's up, or if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen?
I started to fight in UFC in bantamweight. It's not my natural weight class. For example, my walk weight is 135 bantamweight. For 125, I'm not cutting at all, so it's my perfect natural weight class. And I'm so happy that UFC have this weight class where I can feel naturally. I can do like everything what I'm doing right now. That's why I just want to continue defend my belt, and but I'm not discarding any opportunities in the future. As I'm said before the fight, this fight with Amanda, it's something that beyond what she wants, I want. It's not there anymore. It's just gonna happen sometime. I don't know when. I'm not saying, okay, tomorrow. No, probably not. But it's gonna happen sometime. And when it's happened, I will be ready.
All right, before the fight, Caitlin talked about how she was going to try to use her reach and her height as an advantage. What did you think that she did really well in the fight that maybe surprised you?
Actually, I studied Caitlin good. I studied her movements, what she's doing, her like fins, how she trying to showing, for example, like looking to other side and throw some different things. So I knew all of this. I knew all her tricks, and I knew that she is gonna use it. That's why I prepared good for the fight, and nothing was something that surprised me a lot.
Okay, thank you. You look at your last three fights, you've been a big heavy favorite, and you've been dominant in each of these fights at flyweight. You look at Jojo, you mentioned that she's number 3. She's got one win in a row. Her last, before that she lost to Caitlin. Lauren Murphy called out Roxanne Modafferi. Do you feel like any of those top 3 that you mentioned, do they need to do anything else before they get a fight with you? And I know you don't make fights, but do you think that they need to get another win before challenging you for the belt?
If they gonna fight for one more fight, when I will be fighting. No, I want to fight. We done?
Valentina, can you stand?
Yes.
The gate was 3.55 million sold out. We broke the record for largest gate ever at the Toyota Center. The attendance was 17,401. Giles and Krause won fight of the night, and Batista and Chaos won 50,000. Everybody won 50,000. Who's got the first question?
Dana, it ended up being a fantastic event, but of course, the discussion afterwards is all about the main event and the scoring.
Right.
And was it a good score? Was it a bad score? Can you give us your thoughts on how you scored it and just what you think about the result overall?
The scoring was all over the map. So Joe Silva, the former matchmaker here, had it a draw. Kevin Ioli hit me up. He had Jones 3-2. Going into the last round, I had Dominic Reyes 3-1 going into the last round. My kids are terrorizing me that the fix is in and how can this happen, Dad? Reyes won that fight. And the list goes on and on of people that are reaching out to me. So it's not like there's this landslide of people saying, there was a robbery or whatever. People have it all over the place. But the reality is, who gives a shit? We're not judges. None of us are judges. The judges called the fight, and that's that. And as far as the judging and the reffing tonight, do I think it was perfect? I do not. I think that we need to do some work down here. I think that Mark Ratner and Hunter Campbell, have to work with these guys, and they don't do a lot of big fights down here, and we all know that these kids work so hard and sacrifice so much. Let's take Dominic Reyes and Jones out of the equation. If you're the first prelim of the night, you've worked so hard to get there. You know, you guys have heard me for 20 years talk about reffing and judging, and, you know, it's never going to be perfect, but it has to be close, man. I mean, these kids work hard to get here, and, you know what I mean.
You know, and I want to kind of ask you on that, because I know you said, hey, listen, you're too old to be bashing on these referees anymore, but everybody did seem to feel like the judging and the reffing all night was a concern. So what can you do? I mean, I know these guys regulate you, not the other way around. So, I mean, what can you do to try to maybe educate or improve?
Work with them. We can work with these guys, and, you know, first of all, the powers that be in the commission have to realize that there were mistakes made, and these things are going to happen. Nothing's perfect. No commission is perfect. No state is perfect, and it's something we have to work on. But in the Reyes fight, I mean, like I said, it was so all over the map. And then there's guys I talked to a few guys tonight that were like, you know, you can't run the last 2 rounds and take the title away from the champion. So you have people that think a lot of different ways on how they score a fight. But we're not judges.
Yeah.
You know?
Let me ask you specifically about Dominic coming in. You said this is a dangerous guy, that people don't even realize how dangerous he is. Probably showed that tonight. Talk about his career moving forward. I mean, is a rematch even an option for him? Do you feel like this was the type of performance where, you know, people will remember him now, and now this is a guy you can use? What do you think about Dom moving forward?
Yeah, so coming into this fight, my big thing was the only problem with this fight is the general public doesn't realize how dangerous this guy really is and what a huge threat he is to John Jones. You know, he was a 4.5 to 1 dog, which is crazy. There's no way that guy's a 4.5 to 1. You saw it tonight. I never talk about fights right after. First of all, you guys were in here. I was just backstage doing some interviews. John Jones walked by with his legs all wrapped in ice, and they carried Dominic Reyes by me. Like, guys were carrying him. So when you see that shit backstage, you know you just saw an incredible fight. And do I think that he deserves a rematch? Sure he does. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And last thing for me, Dan, let me ask you about John moving forward as well. I mean, being in a...
Well, here's the other thing. You say what you want about John Jones. John Jones wins fights.
Yeah.
We can bitch about the judge, but it's not like there's this landslide, you know, where everybody... Who thinks John Jones won the fight? Anybody in here? No, there's hands in here who think Jones won the fight. I've been hearing this all night. John Jones won the fight. It was a draw. Reyes won the fight. It's all over the map. So it all depends on the way that you judge a fight, and it doesn't fucking matter. We're not judges. So it was a badass fight. One thing I do know, both of these guys are tough as nails, man. The shots that both these guys took tonight to the body, legs, head, it was a phenomenal fight between two phenomenal athletes. Say what you want about John Jones. John Jones wins fights.
No question. Does it give you any pause, though? You know, he was talking about maybe moving up to heavyweight. Now, obviously, that's been talked about for a long time. But tonight's performance, what does it think, you know, how does that factor into what he does moving forward? Does it take heavyweight off the table? Does it take certain things off? What do you think?
Let's not forget what I said going into this fight. Dominic Reyes was not a 4.5 to 1 dog. Dominic Reyes, tonight was the 4th time that he's made it out of the first round. He knocks people out in the first round. 9 people he knocked out in the 4th round. You know, so as you look at little things that both guys did in this fight, they both fought an unbelievable fight. They both made mistakes in this fight. And I think when they both go home and they start watching tape and they'll watch this fight over and over and over again, they're going to get back in the gym and they're going to work on things. If and when these two fight again, it'll be even better than tonight. So that's the positive out of what we saw here this evening. No matter what side of the fence you sit on who won.
Hey, Dan, over here to your left. So John obviously has been dominant for so long as a champion, and it seems like either you know guys are catching up to him, maybe some of the younger guys are coming up, or maybe he's getting a little bit older. Obviously, age is one thing that no one can fend off. How do you attribute this performance against Reyes? Was it more Reyes being very, very good. Maybe Jones maybe not being the same guy.
So what happens is when you take a guy like John Jones, right, and he's the GOAT, all the things he's accomplished, all the killers that he's beat, you set this expectation for John Jones, that John Jones should come out and destroy him and do this and that. John Jones isn't 25 years old anymore, okay? And John Jones is taking on these young killers. And, he finds a way to win these fights. I just think that the bar is set so high and you have such high expectations. Coming into this fight, in no way, shape, or form did I think that John Jones was going to walk through Dominic Reyes. And if you thought that, you don't know enough about fighting. Because there's no way. Dominic Reyes is the real deal. I knew it before, and I definitely know it now.
Is it in a sense a credit to Jones then in that case? That he was able to fend off a young contender. Also turn it on in those late rounds.
And let's be honest, John Jones has not been good to himself outside of the octagon. Okay, normally when you see a guy that's lived the life that John Jones has, they don't come back and do what John Jones is doing. This guy is a freak of nature in every way that you can be a freak of nature. I'm telling you, I was sitting there tonight and I was listening to some of these body shots he got hit with and the kicks and the punches. Dominic Reyes would have knocked 100% of the people he fought out with some of the stuff he hit John Jones with tonight. And John Jones, not only did he walk through it, the one time that he got knocked down, he slipped. I thought that was a slip. I'd have to see it again, but I believed it was a slip at the time that it happened. And Reyes was hitting him with shots tonight, and John Jones was not walking backwards. He was walking forward, walking Reyes down. He's a bad boy, man.
Just want to ask quick about Valentina. She had that fight against Liz Carmouche, and people were saying a little bit of a lackluster fight, kind of a boring fight. Came out tonight, and she dominated, and she finished pretty violently on the ground. Were you impressed with that performance?
Absolutely. She's so awesome. She's such a professional and such a good human being on top of it. But at the end of the day, man, she's a gangster. That woman is an absolute gangster. When you got a gun tattooed on your hip, you are somebody not to be fucked with. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, she's so impressive, and she looks so good tonight, and I look forward to seeing her next fight.
One more thing from me. Why was it so important for you guys to honor Kobe Bryant tonight?
What's the question?
Why was it so important for you guys to honor Kobe Bryant?
Well, this was our first event since it happened, and a lot of people probably don't know this, but Kobe Bryant was an investor in this company here, which is a sponsor of the UFC, and he was also an investor in the UFC. What's crazy is, you guys heard me talk about what an amazing year 2019 was for the company. Massive year for the company, 2019. So Kobe Bryant actually got a distribution the Wednesday before this happened. And he was so pumped and so excited. And basically he said what everybody says when they invest in something and it does really well. He's like, damn, I wish I invested more. But he was a friend of the company. He was a friend of the sport. And he was a good guy in every way that you can be a good guy. And, so I don't know. I hope I answered your question. Huh? Yeah, yeah. I mean, he was pumped, man. He's bummed out that he didn't invest more money into the UFC, but, he did all right. He did pretty good. So, not only was this guy a great basketball player, he won an Oscar, he was an investor too, and he made some pretty good investments for an athlete. You know what I mean? They don't always make the best decisions with their money, but Kobe Bryant did.
So you spoke to him only a few days before the accident. Yeah. Did that trip you out a lot when you heard the news of what happened?
I literally couldn't believe it for an hour. And then once it really started pouring in, it was crazy. Yeah.
Thanks, Dana.
I had somebody who was a huge fan of his that, her husband was like the biggest Kobe Bryant fan, and Kobe was supposed to come in on Tuesday and sign a jersey for him. Yeah, on Tuesday. So.
Hey, Dana. Just a quick one back to the judges. I know some people said that Jones, you can see an argument for 3-2 Jones, but would you agree that 4-1 to Jones is not an acceptable scorecard?
Yeah. Insane.
Also, Derek Lewis tonight, he looked good. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of time he spent underneath Latifi, but he showed some high kicks, he showed flying knees. I just wanted to get your take on his performance.
Who's that?
Derek Lewis?
Oh, yeah. Hey, listen, I knew when he walked out, the place was going to go crazy. This town loves him, and he came out to perform for his crowd tonight, man. He sure did. Yeah. Who in here ever thought they'd see Derek Lewis throw a flying knee? Not me. It's pretty cool.
And obviously your next event is Israel Adesanya versus Yoel Romero. I just wanted to get a quick take. What was going through your mind when Yoel stood up yesterday at the press conference and sort of started marching over to Izzy?
So many of you know this, but I have problems hearing. I don't hear well. I don't hear out of this ear at all, and I have a real loud ringing. So I have trouble hearing as it is. Then when you have an accent, like you, sir, I have trouble understanding the words.
I can tell.
Yeah, I have trouble understanding the words. So I have a lot of trouble hearing. So I couldn't tell if he was pissed off or if they were just talking or whatever. So I get nervous thinking, when they got up to shake each other's hands, then he's doing backflips. And, yeah, I was completely, just trying to make sure these two didn't get in a fight.
Since he did that backflip and splits and all that, the reaction to it online has been like, oh my God. Now you've seen the reaction to that press conference. Any talk of it, or maybe Romero shouldn't have got the shot? Is that gone now? Are you sure like this is the perfect fight to make right now?
Listen, from day one, from when Adesanya wanted it, I have so much respect for the guy. Nobody wants to fight this guy, and you ask any of the fighters, interview the guys who have fought him. They say when they hit him, it hurts them. And this sounds weird, but if you touch this guy's like a piece of iron. It's the craziest thing ever. And Adesanya wants to fight him. How do you not respect it? I love it. And out of all the fights that we have lined up this year and fights that can be made off fights that are lined up this year, the fight that I am the most excited about this year is Weili Zhang versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I'm so excited for this fight, man. And, that's the co-main event. So it's going to be a very fun card.
Yeah, speaking of the card, and last one from me, tonight the full card was listed, and there's no Jared Cannonier on there, and I know the Till fight is sort of maybe being worked on. Is Jared possibly still involved in that card, or is he got off that card now?
I have no idea. Off the top of my head right here, right now, I don't know the answer to that question.
Would you use him as a backup in case Romero has weight issues like he has in the past?
Who, Till?
No, Cannonier.
Oh, Cannonier?
Or
yeah.
Till.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. Cheers, Dana.
Thank you.
Dana right here. What was the conversation? It looked like you were in almost like a heated conversation with Dominic right after the decision was read, and you guys were going back and forth. Can you just tell us kind of that conversation, what you said to him and what he said?
I was just telling him, kid, you got nothing to be bummed out about. That was one hell of a fight, and you just put yourself in a really good position. Obviously it's so hard to talk to a kid that loses a fight like that. But that was an unbelievable performance. That's basically what we were talking about.
Did you
His corner was asking me, come on, how'd you have that scored and whatever? And I'm like, guys, who gives a shit how I had it scored? It doesn't matter. I'm not a judge. And every time you go out there, and I said this tonight when Laura Sanko came back into my room and interviewed me, but, when these guys go out, Dominic Reyes is fighting John Jones, and John Jones is fighting Dominic Reyes, and they're both fighting the judges too. I don't know how many more times I can say it. It's just like if you think these guys are incapable of judging a fight, then do everything in your power to take it out of their hands.
Talk a little bit about James Krause. Did you have a chance to talk to him after the fight yet? And
I did.
Just your thoughts and how that conversation went.
So he was super upset. He felt like he could have won that fight. And I said, you know what, kid, it doesn't matter. You're such a stud. I have so much respect for the fact that you came here to corner and you took this fight weight class up, didn't train, all those other. I said, but let's never do this again. I'm gonna write him a nice check, and and he won fight of the night. So financially, it worked out for him. But did you guys see him tonight? I mean, he's lumped up, and he was in a dogfight. And I was saying, the end of the second round, when he was getting up off the canvas at the end of the second round, I said, I bet he wishes he was cornering right now. But I got nothing but respect for him, man. Thank you.
Dana right here. With Valentina being so dominant, is there any thought about having Amanda and her go for a third time so we get that trilogy?
Listen, our 135-pound champion, GOAT, women GOAT, Valentina Shevchenko at 125, right behind her, and our 115-pound champion, Weili Zhang, is nasty and badass and about to fight Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I think there's a lot of things you could do with the three of them, but I like the idea of them staying in their division right now and doing their thing. We'll see what happens in the future.
Are you tempted to put John in a super fight, either wherever happens with Izzy and Yoel or with Stipe or whoever, since he's basically cleared out the division?
Have they been back here yet?
No.
When you see him walk in here, and when you see Reyes walk in here, if they do, they might even have been transported. You don't even talk to them about fighting or think about fighting. What's next? You let these guys go home, be with their families, heal up, and we'll talk about that later.
Hey, you've been watching the sport way longer than me. Did Dominic Reyes look like a future champion to you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Dominic Reyes tonight looked like the future of the division. He looked damn good. And, again, John Jones has these expectations on him because of who he is and what he's accomplished. John Jones went in against a very, very, very tough guy tonight. And John found a way to win. We good? Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Houston, man. What a cool city and cool people, and I love the culture and the attitude here and everything. It's awesome, man. Thank you very much, Houston. And I want to thank Tillman Fertitta and his whole crew for everything they did for us while we were here. Thanks.
All right, who's first?
Well, Dominic, I know it's still fresh right now, and I imagine it's going to take some time to really soak it in and process it. But after what has been, I'm sure, an amazing week and then an incredible fight, what are the emotions going through your head right now?
Disappointment, first of all. I am proud of myself, though. I went out there and fought with all my heart. A goal for me for this fight was to make it an ESPN Instant Classic. And I feel like I accomplished that today. Man, I do feel disrespected, One of the judges had it 49-46. Like, who are you? I might want to have a word with you. But other than that, man, I know I won that fight. I know I won that fight. I was in that fight. I don't have to watch the replay. I was there. I made John Jones look like just a man. I brought the fight to him, and man, this fucking man.
Talk about as the fight was playing out. I mean, you did exactly what you said you were going to do, right? I mean, you laid the game plan out and you executed it from the opening bell. So I mean, as the fight is playing out, the rounds are playing out. I mean, are you starting to say to yourself like, oh my God, this is a reality? Like, I can't believe this is happening.
Round one went exactly how I thought it was going to go, and it was a little bit trippy. I was like, whoa, like, this is going exactly how I thought it was. Like, heck yeah. Like, it's one of those things, I don't have, like, all kinds of big coaches and all this. I don't train at a big gym, I kind of just work in the dark. I kind of work just in the basement, in a sense. And this is for me, this is a huge validation, It's my very first time going 5 rounds in my entire career against John Jones, who is arguably the greatest of all time. And I put it on him. I took it to him. Man, I feel like I'm the people's champ.
I think you even said that you think you gave him the last 2 rounds, but you think you gave yourself the first 3. Is that the way you scored it?
Yeah, 3-2 or 4-1. It could have been either of those. I truly believe that. I'm not even just saying that. I mean, look at the numbers. Look at how the fight played out. Those takedowns. How can you even score those as a takedown? He burned more energy trying to take me down. I just popped right back up like it was nothing, and then I elbowed him off the break. So it's like, you're gonna do me like that? But it is what it is, man. All I know is I am the truth, and people are gonna. People saw that tonight. You know, many people from the top down in this organization have told me I won that fight, and I'm so proud. I'm so proud, and I'm proud to represent, you know, my friends, my family, my culture, you know, everybody who's believed in me. You know, I shook up the world, even though I didn't win in the judges' eyes.
Yeah. Last thing for me, Dom. I mean, you definitely accomplished. It was an instant classic. There's no question about that. So let me ask you, will you? I'm not sure if that was the one you brought in or not, but it's probably.
I don't either.
Okay. Look, you're going to have to take some time and heal up. I know that. That's for sure. But will you push for a rematch? I mean, you know, this was, like you said, you pushed John to the limit. I think you were a name that some people didn't know. Will you push in your next fight to have this one again?
Yeah, I definitely would like a rematch. I mean, I won. But, and it was very controversial. It wasn't like he blew me out of the water and I was like cowering in the corner and, you know, sitting on my butt like, don't hurt me. Like, no, I was bringing it to him, you know. But I'm going to go home, rest up, you know, maybe go on vacation, sit on a beach somewhere and figure out what's next, you know, sit down and talk with Dana and figure out my future. No matter what, I showed who I am, and I think very many people can respect that.
Hey, Dom, to your left over here. Dana just left. Did you see him on the way out? Did you talk to him at all?
Yeah, we talked in the locker room.
Want to tell us about what?
He said, "You're the man, kid." He said, "I'm proud of you, and if it's any consolation, you're the future of the UFC light heavyweight division."
And how did that make you feel?
Extremely proud. I mean, I've been in the UFC for 2.5 years. That was only my 13th fight, my first time ever going 5 rounds, you know. And for Dana to say that to me, you know, it means a tremendous amount.
You've seen the scorecards, right? You knew there was a 49-46.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get your thoughts on, I mean, do you think it's an issue with the Texas Commission? Do you think, where do you think the issue lies?
I don't know, man. But the disrespect. I don't know. I don't know where it lies. I mean, I don't know who's judging, because even if they were boxing judges, I had some very impressive boxing out there. You know, I was working the body, I was working the head, I was slipping, I was having fun, man. But whatever.
A couple times I saw you were kind of batting down his lead hand. Was that because he had the fingers extended?
Well, a couple of times I punched his fingers. I wasn't batting it down. I was punching the fingers like, bop. Yeah, don't stick your fingers out, man. Like I wasn't doing that. You don't need to try to stop me. Put a spike in my face. But it's neither here nor there. I mean, I got it done. I was still landing, even with that or without that or whatever. I was having fun.
Last thing for me, the 4th and 5th rounds. Those are the ones that I guess the judges gave him. Was it a matter for you of cardio? What do you think it was that gave him those last 2 rounds?
I mean, I'd never been in the 4th and 5th before. It was a big learning experience for me. I kind of knew I was up 3. I felt like I put it on him in the 4th as well. And the 5th, I thought he was going to do something wild. You know, I thought he was going to be spinning the whole time and trying to fly knee and all that. So I was just sticking and moving. But it is what it is.
Dominic, right here. What did you do on your cardio that it's like you kind of had that look all week that you knew something that we didn't know, and you kind of got winded in the 3rd, but then you got that 2nd win. So what did you do differently that you haven't shown? Of course, you haven't win 5 rounds, but I'm pretty sure you trained a lot differently to get prove us wrong.
Yeah, to be 100% honest with you, man, I hit the streets. I hit the streets hard. I usually do like a MMA style conditioning where it's like a program where you have all these set workouts, treadmill sprints, et cetera. But this time I was like, nah, I'm gonna hit these streets. And that's what happened. I mean, that combined with pushing myself as hard as I possibly could every single day. I mean, I was Shark Tanking myself for the sake of Shark Tanking. Like, there wasn't a reason to get a new fresh body every time I escaped. I mean, we saw my takedown defense tonight. It was fantastic. John Jones doesn't get stuff like that, and that's a testament to the hard work I put in. I was putting myself in situations where I'd escape, and then a new guy would come in for like 50 minutes straight. And I was doing that with striking exchanges as well. I mean, I've never worked that hard in my entire life, and I thought I could get it done, and I felt like I won that fight, but the judges here in Texas, they didn't agree.
We talked about earlier this week about taking chances and not being a sparring partner. After going 25 minutes and taking chances, do you think you can beat John without them taking those crazy chances now that you've been in the octagon with him?
That's me, man. That's how I fight. I'm a dog, man. You got to get in there and be a dog. You can't go in there and be tentative and nervous. I'm there to scrap, man. I love to fight, man. Look at my strike count. Look at how much I throw. I'm a scrapper, man. I'm a dog, and you got it. That's just who I am. That's how I fight.
And before John hangs it up or moves up divisions, do you think he has to see you one more time?
I'd like to fight him again. He at the very end of everything, he was like, "Dude, you're the real deal." Like, I did not expect that from you. I'm like, I know, like, saw it in your face, but. He said, when we rematch, it's going to be epic. So,
how does that feel to have the champion's attention like that? It wasn't like he didn't take you serious, but I guess it's a lot different that you share blood for 25 minutes.
Well, he knows I don't only just have a left now, so.
And final question for me. What does this do for the Dominic Reyes brand? It's like I said, we got the secret now. You had the secret in your pocket all week. You had the swag on a 15, and you showed that you're the real deal. So what do you have to do to let everybody know that you're going to be around for the next 4 to 5 years to be that guy to take over this division?
I just got to keep working, man. I mean, you don't get to this level and then stop. I want to be great. I want to be one of the greatest. So you got to keep working. I got to keep working. Yeah, I'm going to take a little time, heal up, enjoy my life a little bit, but I'm coming right back to it. I think this solidified my spot in the UFC for a very long time.
Dom, right here. Thanks for coming to talk to us, by the way. You mentioned you need some time to heal up. Obviously, you were limping out of the octagon. You limped in here. I think I saw something that maybe on the ESPN post show that mentioned something about a potentially torn ACL. Can you give us any insight on what's actually going on with you?
I'm good, man. We kicked the crap out of each other. My legs don't feel nice, but I don't think anything's torn. I mean, I wouldn't have walked. I'd be on a wheelchair or crutches right now. Yeah, I'm ginger, but have you ever been leg kicked that many times? There it is.
What would you do differently in a rematch? What do you think it would look like? Because obviously you feel like you did great in there. You feel you won the fight. So what adjustments would you make to, I guess, make it even more definitive?
Hey, come on, man. I can't give away the formula. What are you talking about?
Give us a hint.
Win in the judge's eyes.
Does that take away from, that extra factor in the back of your head that you need another thing you have to consider?
No. I'm going to fight my fight, every fight, no matter what. I'm going to fight for me. I'm going to fight for my family and friends and my supporters and all the fans in the UFC. Fans want to see fights. They want to see great fights, and I intend on giving it to them.
Hi, my name is Takashi from UFC en español, así que te voy a hacer una pregunta, ¿ok? Vimos tu excelente desempeño, realmente creo que coincidimos la gran mayoría en que no fue justo el resultado. ¿Cuál sería tu mensaje para la audiencia de Latinoamérica y crees tú que estás en tu mejor nivel?
I'm going to need you to translate that a little bit.
But your Spanish is good.
It's not great.
You try, please.
Not
Are you on the best level?
That's a lot of thinking right now.
Okay, you try in Spanish, please. No?
Not right now. Next question.
Okay. Thank you.
We're good? You guys good? All right. Thank you. Thank you for coming out tonight.
My pants are incredibly tight.
I don't even know how to start on that one. Well, John, I mean, obviously tested to the very limit tonight, man. Pushed by a contender, but you walk out victorious. I'm sure you want to go back and watch the tape and all that and break it down. But just in terms of emotion and thoughts right now after a fight like that, what can you share with us? What you're thinking, what you're feeling at the moment?
Well, I got to start by just saying thank you to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for just allowing me to be here on this journey, for making my feet like hinds feet and setting me on high places. This is truly a high place to be a Christian fighter representing the UFC and being one of the best. It means a lot. So thank my Lord Jesus for that. My team, I can't sit here and name every one of them because I don't want to forget a name. But the team of men around me, they've invested so much. And I'm so grateful to each and every one of you guys for the time that you spent away from your wives and your kids, being with me, helping me on my journey. I got one coach that got his first world championship tonight. I'm so proud for him. And I'm proud for all these guys. I want to thank my fans who's been with me through thick and thin. I want to thank them so much for everyone who ordered the pay-per-view tonight, all the fans that traveled to be in attendance. Thank you guys so much. My fiance, Jesse, I love you. And thank you so much for all the support. My kids, thank you for your sacrifice. Your question was?
As far as you personally, I mean, obviously, great thanks for all those people, but you, right now, your emotions, your thoughts after going through a fight like that where you were really pushed to the limit, but got to retain your title.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you hear people say, you don't lose, you learn. And I'm really grateful to have a win and such a learning experience. Dominic did a tremendous job. I respect him dearly. I respect him wholeheartedly. And what a way to put yourself in the history books. Doing it with such a hard-earned fight. You know, David Goggins, he wrote me last night. And I can't repeat what he said verbatim, but the basis of his message was, be the guy who embraces the ugly, the miserable. Be the guy who embraces hard work, the grind. Don't be afraid of being hurt. Don't be afraid of sacrificing some blood. You know, and, you know, the whole week I was thinking, I want to finish this fight. I'm going to finish this fight before the championship rounds. And this is, you know, I should be able to smash this guy. You know, Goggins' message, it was for a reason, you know, his reason. And Greg Jackson's been saying it for years, be comfortable being uncomfortable. But Goggins gave me a really good reminder, just, John, you should want this fight to be miserable. You should want this to hurt. Be the guy who thrives in that. And I felt like I was that guy tonight. I had to earn this position. You know, I think about, you know, the first person to climb Everest. You know, I'm sure people died. Lots of people died. I respectfully say that. The first man who ran a 4-minute mile, I'm sure he was hurting bad. You know, to be the first person to do anything, you should look like this. So that makes the victory even sweeter.
Talk about those first 2 rounds. I mean, you talk about embracing the ugly and the grind. I mean, that guy came after you from the opening bell, showed you no respect, and brought it to you. So what's going through your head those opening 2 rounds? I mean, is there panic? Is there concern? Like, oh my gosh, this guy is more than I thought he would be.
Yeah, there's no panic. A part of me just wanted to see. A part of me wanted to see how long he could keep that up. A part of me wanted to see what he had to offer, and I saw what he had to offer. I also saw that he couldn't keep that up, and you got to embrace that. What I do for a living is not always pleasant. It's just a big part of the game. It was a great feeling out process. I realized that I got to take his best punches. I think my chin is very underrated.
Some people are saying controversial, at least everybody's saying close, right? I mean, the decision was close. You go to the final bell, you and your team are talking, you're out there waiting. What did you think? I mean, how confident, how comfortable were you? Yes, we banked 3 rounds. I mean, did you know, or was there a little bit of fear to think maybe we came up just a little short tonight?
I wasn't always confident that I was winning the fight. I was confident that I wasn't going to be giving up or slowing down. Greg Jackson said to me, John, you may need to win this 5th round to win. And that heart of a champion said, no problem, coach. I got that. I can do that for you. I can leave it all out there. You got 5 minutes left. And I think I displayed the difference between a champion and an extraordinary contender. He had all the tools. I think he had the endurance. But something special happens. Something special happens when it's a time for the champion to present himself. You guys saw it tonight in the 5th round.
Yeah. Last thing for me, John, I mean, this guy, is he a guy that you think you're going to see again in the future? Because I think a lot of people would be intrigued, just like they were when Gustafsson pushed you to the limit. They wanted to see it again at one point. Is this a guy that you want to see again at one point to maybe prove a point or just to have an epic encounter?
Yeah, I heard he may have torn his ACL, and if that's true, he could be out for up to a year. It's not torn?
He said he didn't think it was, but...
Well, it wasn't in that case. It's my job to embrace the toughest challenges. I mean, that's what a champion's being about. I fought DC twice. Had no problem signing the contract. I fought Alexander Gustafsson twice. No problem signing the contract. And if the people want to see me fight Dominic again, it's going to be up to Dana White to find a way to make that happen.
Here in front of you. Second fight in a row where kind of the post-fight narrative is, it was really close, all that kind of stuff. Dana was in here earlier, and he said that just from what you did so early in your career, the standard is so high for you, or the expectations are so high for you to perform. Do you think, in the sense that it kind of clouts their judgment in a fight? They see a guy, giving you a little bit of trouble, and maybe they think he's doing better than he actually is, in a way?
Yeah, I got to watch, I think it was Gilbert Melendez, and I want to say it was Dominic Cruz. They did an interview recently where they watched my Thiago Santos fight. They watched it without commentary, and they also watched it without. They watched it after some time had passed, and they got to look at it without all the emotion, and they realized, maybe this fight, maybe John really did win the fight, So I think I have set a high standard. Out of maybe 30 fights, only 3 people have put me into an actual competitive match. Seeing me with black eyes, seeing me get punched is not something that happens every time I show up. So people definitely get really excited, even when an opponent throws a jab. When an opponent, at one point I think I fell to the ground. I wasn't hurt. I bounced right back up. But the fans loved that. You know what I mean? So it's hard when you when people expect great things out of you at all moments. I'm still a martial artist like everyone else. I bleed. I have insecurities. I have weakness. I have pain right now. So it's hard when not only you're fighting for these records, but you're fighting for people's approval. You're fighting to look extraordinary every time. It's a lot of pressure.
And with that said, though, I mean, I'm sure you would prefer to have the dominant performances, the finishes and everything. In your mind, is there anything you could be doing, whether it's in your preparation in the fights itself, to make these fights more definitive and not having us have these discussions about being close afterwards?
Yeah, I'm happy with what myself and my team's been able to accomplish. Out of my last 4 fights, I finished Alexander Gustafsson, which was, he sent me to the hospital the first time. I experienced morphine for the first time with him, and I finished him. And then Anthony Smith, I didn't get the finish, but he was in the fetal position for a lot of that fight. That was a dominating performance. And unfortunately, for some of my fans, Thiago Santos and Dominic Reyes, I couldn't put them away, and they challenged me. But there's good in that. One of Mike Tyson's biggest problems was that he was so dominant, people lost interest. So the fans got their money worth tonight by seeing me go through the ringer and getting to see the heart of a champion. That's totally worth the $60 you paid on pay-per-view. So there's good in this.
Yeah, and lastly for me, you mentioned the history books and records and stuff a few times up here. Most title fight wins in history now. You're one of the few people to have 20 UFC wins, longest unbeaten streak, all these things. I think I saw you mention that you're one of the greatest American athletes in the UFC quote they sent out. What does just tonight making this type of history mean to you and your legacy?
It means a lot. As of right now, it's hard to, I've been so focused on winning this fight. I haven't really thought about everything this means. But I know it means a lot. There's been so many tremendous athletes to compete in the UFC, and to do something that none of them has done, it means a lot. I'm happy for myself, but I'm more happy for my coaches. These guys are a part of something special. When they get to tell their grandkids, I trained possibly one of the baddest fighters ever, and hopefully my record still stands when they have grandkids. I think years from now, what I did tonight will be more appreciated. I really don't see anyone beating this record for a very long time. If George St. Pierre came back, I guess he could compete for that to get right. Could he? Yeah, he's one behind me. So George will be the only person that could come back and compete for this record. Outside of that, I don't see anybody getting up there with that record. Mixed martial arts is getting harder and harder. The holes in people's games are closing up. Everyone has takedown defense now. Everyone knows a little jiu-jitsu now. Everyone can switch stances and do things like that. So I think I'll appreciate what happened tonight, 10 years from now when that record is still standing.
All right, John. First question over here. You talked a couple of times about the heart of a champion. I don't know if you were aware of the former Houston Rockets coach, Reggie Tomjanovic, when they defended their title in the 94-95 season. He talked about never underestimate the heart of a champion. Is that something you felt that Dominic underestimated today, your heart and your chin, perhaps?
Yeah, that chin is underrated for sure. I've watched Dominic knock so many people out, and I feel like I took some of his cleanest shots, and at no point was I wobbled. I think my vision went out at a few points, but God has blessed me with a chin, and that's something I can't take credit for at all. Either you're born with one or you're not, and I have a great chin, so I'm grateful for that. But a heart of a champion, man, that's something that I don't know can be taught by a coach. I think that's also something you're born with. And I got to let that come out. I knew it was inside of me. One thing about fights like Thiago Santos and Gustafsson and tonight, you exercise that warrior spirit. You exercise that little bit of that a lot of people don't have, man. When the going gets tough for a lot of people, they look for a way out. There's a little door. Rampage Jackson talked about it. There's a door that opens up and says, "This is a challenge here. The easy way out, you can take this fall. You can tap out. You can let them catch you. You can pretend like that body shot hurt and curl up. And I'm grateful that I got to exercise my dog tonight.
The last question is, you've got a multitude of options at your disposal, whether it's, heavyweight, whether it's rematches with Thiago Santos, who seems to be, forgotten a little bit, or, Dominic, or, Israel is still out there. Now, Israel's talked about, he has no problem fighting you, whether you have the title or not. He just wants to fight you looking forward. Is that something that you'd be interested in if he does not have the title? Would you still be interested in him?
No comment. I'm just here so I don't get fined.
All right, John, right here. You mentioned that you had heard that Dominic had tore his ACL. Dana had mentioned that when you had walked by you looked in some rough shape. How are you feeling right now? What kind of injuries? And you mentioned your eye, but what kind of injuries are you going through right now?
I'm hurt. I'm not injured at all.
Okay.
A week from now, I'll be totally fine.
Well, speaking about a week from now, in Rio Rancho, Corey Anderson is fighting Jan Blachowicz. How do you see that fight going, and are you going to be there? And do you see that those guys are someone that you could be fighting next?
Yeah, I think I'll be there. I think I'll be there. I normally don't attend a lot of MMA events, but I think it's going to be an awesome opportunity for me to see UFC fans that live in the state of New Mexico. And it's going to be more about getting to see those guys and those guys getting to see me than it's going to be about that fight. I can study fights online or, on my laptop or whatnot. I'm more excited to, I don't want to sound arrogant to say this. There's a lot of people from New Mexico who would probably love to see me in person. And I want to show up for them. I want to stick around, do some meet and greets or whatever the UFC. It's been a long time since I've done one of the guest fighters for an event, and I want to be a guest fighter. That way I can meet as many people from New Mexico and let them know how much I love them.
Awesome. Last question for me. You sold out the Toyota Center. You set a record here. Before the fight on Media Day, you mentioned that, if you would want to see how this fight went, and maybe that means that you should be fighting a little bit more outside of Vegas, maybe outside of the U.S. You mentioned Australia. What are some goals that you have after you see that, that your ability to sell out these events?
Yeah, I don't have many goals right now when it comes to that side of things. I really couldn't control how many people showed up. I'm really grateful that so many people showed up. It's hard to really think forward right now, honestly. Yeah. All I'm thinking about is some food.
Okay, thanks.
Pizza. Oh, there's pizza back there?
There is some pizza back.
Oh, it's cold? I'm cool with cold pizza. I grew up on cold pizza.
Hey, John's here, left over here.
Hey, man.
Congrats on the win.
Thank you.
Dana was in here earlier, and he said that he feels like Dominic Reyes is the future of the division.
Dana said that?
He did.
Okay.
Just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
How old is Dominic?
30.
He's 30? I don't mind sharing my future with Dominic.
Do you think there will be a shared future? Do you think you'll see him again eventually?
Yeah, man. A lot of these guys are going to be around for a very long time. I don't think Dominic had any excuses for losing tonight. He lost. It was close, but they say close only counts on with handguns, what horseshoes and hand grenades, right? So he can try 1,000 times, and I believe I'll edge him every single time.
I don't know if you saw any of his quotes. He's pretty upset by the decision. He thinks he was disrespected by the judges. Any thoughts on that?
No, I don't think he was disrespected. I got takedowns. He got no takedowns. I got his back. At one point, I put a hook in. The fifth round, I was surprised on the output difference we had. I got to watch the fight, though. I don't want to. It's hard to speak with confidence when I haven't watched the fight. So after I watch the fight, I'll give one of you guys a good interview, and I'll tell you how I felt, and I'll try to be as real as possible with you guys. Right now, I'm just kind of bullshitting, to be honest. John Morgan, you got it. I met your mom in the lobby. She was so sweet. I think she was hitting on me a little bit, too. I'm not going to lie. Oh, she likes the chocolate ones, huh? That's funny. She was so sweet. I'll give you that interview, John. I respect that go-getter attitude. Yep.
John, a couple more from me. A lot of people keep trying to push you to go to heavyweight, and I know you said earlier in the week that you're completely fine with staying at light heavyweight and defending your title as many times as it takes. Do you think tonight shows that maybe that cools the heavyweight talks a little bit? Maybe you stay here at 205 for a little bit.
Yeah, at the end of the day, there's great challenges. I feel like as long as these guys are dreaming and they have aspirations to be the best in the world, I'll always have a job at light heavyweight. I can never think that I'm invincible. It's obvious that I'm not. And there's lots of work to be done. They say styles make matchups, and we saw that tonight. So there's lots of work to be done at light heavyweight.
Last thing for me, I know you don't want to answer questions about Israel Adesanya or fighting him, but he has a pretty hard fight, does he not, in a few weeks against your friend Yoel Romero. How do you see that fight going? Do you think he even gets by Romero?
I wish Yoel nothing but the best.
Okay. Thanks, John.
I'm just here so I don't get fined. Where's that pizza? Ow! Love you guys.